Here's the truth most men never hear, until it's too late. The more you chase, the faster she runs. And no, this isn't about playing some manipulative game or trying to win a breakup. This is about waking up to the dynamics that silently control your relationships, even if you're not aware of them. If you've ever been blindsided by a woman suddenly pulling away after things were going great, there's a reason. And it has everything to do with power. We've all been taught a lie, that if we just try hard enough, text more, give more, plan more, she'll love us more. But what actually happens? She grows distant. Cold. You feel confused, even angry. You tell yourself, but I was doing everything right. And that's the problem. You were too available. Too eager. Too easy. Attraction isn't about effort. It's about energy. When a woman feels like she doesn't have to earn your attention, she starts devaluing it. And once she starts devaluing it, she starts devaluing you. That's not her being cruel. That's how human nature works. We don't cherish what we don't have to work for. Let's be honest, how many times have you seen a guy bend over backward for a girl? He plans romantic dates, sends sweet messages, buys thoughtful gifts, only to have her slowly withdraw. It's because she sensed that he had made her the center of his world. That's not love. That's dependency. And dependency kills attraction. The moment she knows you're always going to pick up her call, always going to say yes, always going to be there at her convenience, she stops respecting you. And once respect disappears, attraction follows right behind it. Here's the shift: she wants to chase. You've been conditioned to believe that you have to earn her, win her, convince her. But the reality is, women are biologically wired to be drawn to men who are centered, grounded, and emotionally secure, men who don't need them, but choose them. And when she pulls back, that's not a signal to do more. It's a test. A test you fail when you panic, when you reach out too soon, when you try to fix things with validation. She's not even doing it consciously. Pullbacks are her way of checking the balance of power. If she tugs and you come running, she knows she's got you. If she tugs and you hold steady, suddenly, you become interesting again. This is why understanding emotional detachment is so critical. Not coldness. Not cruelty. Detachment. The calm ability to stay centered even when someone else withdraws affection. The power to remain unaffected by her shifts in energy. Most men react. You will respond, with silence, with stillness, with strength. Because when you stop chasing, something incredible happens. You create a vacuum. A gap. A silence. And in that silence, she starts to feel your absence. She starts wondering. Doubting. Missing. But that only happens if you resist the urge to fill the silence with weak moves, texts, likes, calls, check-ins. Every time you reach out, you're telling her, you still have power over me. You're showing her that her behavior controls your emotions. And that's the quickest way to lose her for good. So what do you do instead? You vanish. Not to hurt her. Not to punish her. But to reclaim your center. The next 30 days are about discipline. You go completely silent, no contact, no viewing stories, no texting, just to check in. Not because you're trying to manipulate, but because you are taking your energy back. Every moment you don't respond is a message that says, I am no longer someone you can take for granted. She may post something provocative on social media. She may try to bait you into liking or commenting. Don't take the bait. She might text something harmless like, hope you're doing well. Don't jump. You are building something deeper now, emotional strength. You are stepping into a version of yourself who isn't desperate for attention, who doesn't need external validation to feel like a man. Let her feel your absence. In a world where everyone is constantly connected, disconnection is the most powerful signal you can send. Your silence becomes a roar. It tells her, you lost access to me. And in that space, you begin the real work. You hit the gym not for revenge, but for resilience. You wake up earlier, not to impress her, but to elevate yourself. You learn new skills, grow your business, recenter your mission, not because she's watching, but because it's who you are now. This is not a tactic. This is a transformation. And as you transform, she will feel it, even if you say nothing. You see, it's not about getting her back. It's about getting you back. So stop chasing. Stop reacting. Start building. Start leading. Because when you become a man who no longer needs validation, you become the man she regrets losing. And that's only the beginning. Let's talk about what happens when you go silent. It's not just the absence of noise, it's the presence of strength. While most men spiral in anxiety, wondering what she's thinking, checking their phones every few minutes, you're doing the opposite. You're not just giving her space. You're filling that space with growth. You're not asking, when will she reach out? You're asking, how far can I evolve before she even notices? This is where most men fail. They think no contact is a trick, a countdown until she comes back. But that mindset still gives her power. The real shift happens when you stop waiting altogether. When you forget about her timeline. When your silence isn't a tactic, it's a testament. To what? To your focus. To your self-worth. To your mission. The version of you that she pulled away from. He was reactive. He needed validation. He was confused, shaken, unsure. But this new version? He doesn't chase. He doesn't beg. He builds. This is the season of reinvention. Of rebirth. You hit the gym with a vengeance, not out of bitterness, but because the weight on the bar is now lighter than the emotional weight you've carried. You read, you study, you master your craft, not to show her, but because you're done outsourcing your worth to someone else's opinion. Every moment of discipline is a declaration, I'm not the same man anymore. And you know what happens? She notices. Eventually, she starts to feel it. Not just the silence, but the energy shift. She wonders, why hasn't he checked my stories? Is he seeing someone else? Has he moved on? That curiosity turns into tension. And tension, when unresolved, becomes attraction. But here's the paradox, the moment you start craving that attention again, the illusion breaks. She senses it. Women have an uncanny ability to detect neediness. If you're waiting in the shadows, crafting the perfect message, or timing your reappearance like some emotional boomerang, she'll feel it. You'll go from mystery to predictable in an instant. So instead, you keep going. You stay focused. You become dangerous, not in a reckless way, but in a calm, composed, powerful way. The kind of man who commands respect without raising his voice. The kind of man whose attention feels rare, and therefore, valuable. And then one day, her name pops up. A casual message. A DM. A reaction to your story. A, hey, how have you been, disguised as innocent. Now, this is the moment you fantasized about, but here's the hard truth, this is also the moment where most men undo everything. They respond too fast. They say too much. They open the door too wide, too soon. And just like that, she's back in control. Don't let that be you. When she reaches out, you don't rush. You don't get emotional. You don't remind her of the good times, or worse, the pain. You acknowledge. Briefly. Calmly. You answer like a man who's been too focused on his purpose to obsess over someone who once disappeared. If she says, I miss you, you don't melt. If she says, I've been thinking about us, you don't pour your heart out. You hold the line. You let her feel that the version of you she once knew, no longer exists. And the man she's now speaking to? He doesn't beg for a second chance. He evaluates whether she even deserves one. This isn't about revenge. This is about responsibility, to yourself. Because now you know, you were never supposed to chase. You were supposed to lead. And leading means boundaries. It means when she says, let's hang out, you say, maybe. I've got a lot going on this week. It means when she wants instant access again, she doesn't get it. Not right away. Not without effort. She left when things were easy. If she wants back in, she earns it. Not because you're punishing her, but because you've upgraded your standards. Understand this, boundaries aren't walls. They're filters. They don't block love, they protect it. And when you live with emotional strength, you naturally filter out what drains you, what disrespects you, what doesn't align with your purpose. The old you gave too much, too soon. The new you gives with discernment. You're not proving your worth anymore. You've already built it. You don't need to be validated. You've already reclaimed your self-respect. You don't need to be chosen. You've already chosen yourself. And ironically, that's what makes you magnetic. When she senses that her validation no longer feeds you, when your life moves forward without her as the centerpiece, she sees the value. She sees the shift. She starts wondering if she ever really knew you at all. That's the power of emotional evolution. You no longer beg for peace, you embody it. You no longer demand respect, you command it. So don't rush. Don't falter. Don't crack under nostalgia. Let her come back to a version of you so elevated, so deeply rooted in purpose, that she realizes, if she wants to stay, she'll have to rise too. And if she can't, you'll walk, not out of anger, but out of certainty. Because when you know who you are, you don't need anyone to complete you. You are the storm and the stillness. You are the silence that speaks louder than any apology. You are the man she won't forget, not because you chased, but because you didn't have to. Now that you've started walking the path of emotional strength, something profound begins to happen. Your identity starts to shift, not just in her eyes, but in your own. You're no longer reacting to the world. You're shaping it. This isn't just about winning her back. This is about building a version of yourself that doesn't need to chase love to feel worthy. A version so grounded in his own vision, so obsessed with his own growth, that love becomes a complement, not a necessity. And here's where it gets even more powerful: you stop living your life in response to pain, and you start using that pain as leverage. Because heartbreak, when used correctly, becomes rocket fuel. Think about it. Some of the most legendary men in history, athletes, founders, thinkers, they all had a turning point. A moment of devastation. A collapse. A heartbreak. But instead of sinking, they used that moment as the foundation for their rise. Not in spite of it, but because of it. This is what most men miss. They let the pain eat them. They let rejection define them. They wallow in self-pity, numbing the ache with distractions, meaningless flings, late-night scrolling, escapism, fake confidence. But a man on the rise doesn't run from pain, he harnesses it. He wakes up earlier. He trains harder. He works with intensity. He invests in himself like never before. Every time his mind drifts back to her, he redirects that energy into building something meaningful. He doesn't ask, why did she leave? He asks, what can I become now that she's gone? And soon enough, he realizes, he never needed her to begin with. Not because she didn't matter, but because his mission matters more. That's when everything shifts. You stop seeing her as the prize. You stop romanticizing the past. You stop needing closure. Because now, you're closing the gap between who you were and who you're becoming. You stop begging for clarity, and become the clarity. But what happens when she sees that transformation? She'll test it. Let's be clear, when a woman notices your absence, when she starts to feel your evolution, her instinct is not always to applaud it. Sometimes, it's to poke at it. To test its stability. To see if you're truly unshaken, or just pretending. She may reach out in subtle ways, liking an old photo, sending a vague, hope you're good message, asking mutual friends about you. Not because she's ready to rebuild something real, but because she wants to confirm if she still has influence. And if you react too quickly, too eagerly, you undo the very power you've been building. So what do? You maintain the standard. You acknowledge, but you don't abandon your progress. You respond, but only from a place of calm clarity. She asks to meet. You consider it on your timeline. She says she misses you. You let her sit in that emotion a little longer. Why? Because this isn't about revenge. It's about recalibration. You're not punishing her, you're protecting your peace. You're not withholding love, you're redefining what love requires to thrive in your world. And if she's serious about rebuilding something, she'll have to meet the man you are now, not the boy you used to be. That means respect, effort, consistency. No more guessing games. No more emotional roller coasters. No more tolerating behaviors that compromise your self-worth. Let her experience the full weight of losing access to you. Let her feel that you're no longer easily available, that your time is earned, not assumed. That your attention is a privilege, not a guarantee. That you now belong to yourself first, and anyone who wants space in your world must rise to your level. That's how you shift the dynamic permanently. Because even if she does come back, and many do, what matters is who you've become while she was gone. And if she doesn't come back, that's still a win. Because you didn't use this silence to wait, you used it to transform. And now, something remarkable happens. You begin to attract differently. Not just in love, but in life. New people enter your orbit, not because you chase them, but because your presence speaks for itself. Opportunities emerge. Confidence deepens. Your voice becomes steady, your eyes more focused, your energy magnetic. You realize, this was never just about her. She was the catalyst, not the purpose. The purpose was always to rediscover your power. To live with intention. To become the kind of man who doesn't fear rejection, because he no longer fears being alone. You are no longer chasing approval. You are embodying value. And value doesn't need to beg. So when she circles back, if she circles back, don't fall into the trap of old habits. Don't over-explain. Don't justify your growth. Let her witness it. Let her feel the distance between the version she left and the man you are now. She'll either rise to meet you, or she won't. And either way, you win. Because you're not playing for the short term anymore. You're not just trying to fix a relationship. You're trying to fix your foundation. And when your foundation is solid, no one, not even her, can shake you. This is what emotional strength looks like. It's not loud. It's not performative. It doesn't seek validation. It just is, steady, rooted, immovable. And once you own it, you'll never go back to the version of you who begged, who chased, who pleaded to be chosen. Because now, you've chosen yourself. And that's when you become truly untouchable. Now that you've taken your power back, here's the final step: never give it away again. Because real change isn't just about getting her back, or any woman for that matter. It's about changing the default settings of your identity. It's about permanently upgrading the way you see yourself, your relationships, and your emotional boundaries. When she comes back, and let's be honest, she often will, it'll be subtle at first. A breadcrumb here, a comment there. Maybe she suggests catching up, maybe she hints at how much she's missed your energy. And you'll be tempted. Not because you need her, but because a part of you wants to believe that this time, things might be different. But here's the truth, things only change if you do. If you walk right back into the same dynamic, you'll be back to square one in days. All the progress you made, the emotional strength, the self-respect, the power shift, gone. So don't fall for that illusion of closeness. You can't create a new reality with the same patterns. What do you do instead? You reset the terms. Calmly. Confidently. Without ego, but with unshakable clarity. You let her know, I'm not the same man anymore. And if you want to be part of my life, there are boundaries now. Not to control you, but to protect what I've built. Boundaries are not threats. They are standards. They define the rules of engagement in your world. They separate the real from the performative, the intentional from the impulsive. And if she pushes back, if she tries to test you with silence, sarcasm, or passive aggression, you don't react. You don't explain yourself over and over. You hold your line. Because a man who respects himself doesn't debate his worth. She might try to draw you back into old roles. She might reminisce about the past, about how things used to be. But the man you are now doesn't live in the past. He lives in reality. He doesn't chase connection, he cultivates alignment. So if she wants to come back, she has to meet you where you are, not the other way around. Let's go even deeper. This journey isn't just about her anymore. It's about every future relationship you will ever have. It's about creating a life where you're no longer enslaved to attraction, approval, or emotional inconsistency. You're no longer asking, what does she think of me? How do I keep her interested? What if I lose her? Now you're asking, does this person fit into the life I'm building? Does this energy align with my peace? Is this connection elevating or draining me? That's the frame of a high-value man. He doesn't get pulled into drama. He doesn't need to prove his masculinity. He doesn't get stuck trying to fix people who aren't willing to grow. He leads, by example, by energy, by action. And that leadership extends far beyond dating. It touches every part of his life. Career. Health. Friendships. Legacy. Because once you reclaim your emotional power, everything else starts to align. You no longer overextend to earn love. You no longer tolerate disrespect because you're scared to walk away. You stop chasing people who only want you when you're slipping away. You become the prize. And women sense that. People sense that. Your energy changes rooms before you speak. Your silence speaks louder than your past pleas ever did. You'll notice something else, too. You'll start to attract different kinds of women. Women who aren't playing games. Women who are emotionally available. Women who respect your time, your mission, your pace. Why? Because you've set the tone. You've done the work. And now, you only make room for those who rise to meet your standard. This is the most freeing realization of all, you're not here to chase love, you're here to become it. And when love finds you again, it will be on your terms. Not because you played a role. Not because you performed to please. But because you stood firm in your truth, and someone finally saw it, respected it, and reciprocated it. So now what? You don't go back to begging, fixing, explaining. You move forward. With clarity. With strength. With self-respect. And if she comes back, fine. Let her earn her place. But if she doesn't, you still win. Because you've become the man who no longer needs to be chosen, because he already chose himself. That's the real victory. So don't just end this video and go back to old habits. Use this moment. Make the decision. Step into the version of yourself that doesn't fold under pressure, doesn't cling to what's slipping away, and doesn't sacrifice dignity for comfort. You've seen what happens when you chase. Now it's time to lead. Because the man who leads, not just in relationships, but in his own life, is the man everyone remembers. Be that man.